Okay, where to start? Where to start? Absolutely crazy today. I mean, probably one of the craziest days ever for me. So Trump paused the tariffs for 3 months for the countries that didn't react. I believe that's the headlines. That doesn't mean they were out of the woods. So, China has just been exacerbated. So the markets went up huge. They filled the gap. I did not think the markets would go up much today if they did, but this is obviously this can only be news, and that's what it was. Filled the gap, kept going, closed at a high of day on resistance. It can go a little higher. The S&P could hit its descending, or yes, it could. I mean, we're going to get to the miners and everything else, but okay, those are the levels. If it closes outside this descending and near there, the S&P, then that kind of suggests that, well, it wants to go all the way back up. But how can it do that? Because some of the tariffs remain. So I think it's a little too much. I sold into it. I'll get to where I sold. I sold initially here just before yesterday's high of day, the equivalent of that in the miners, because the miners were kind of following them. Actually, no, they weren't. At the beginning of the day, gold was up huge, right? Like 2.5%. Silver was following gold. The markets were down. I love that combination. In fact, I may even have preferred that than what we got today, even though I made so much money with the market going up. I just like that sort of gold and the miners sticking out, standing out, and everything else being red. But anyway, I'll take what happened. So the markets are absolutely wild. Yeah, everything happened today. The dollar doesn't matter that much. The dollar we can ignore. Something else, and I'm not going to go through the Nasdaq and everything. Everything is just visible via the S&P. Yields. What the hell is going on with bonds? So bonds initially were going up, so yields were going down, and I was like, pay attention to yields. And then what the hell happened this week is today included, just absolutely, you got the 30 year hitting 5%. Okay, it came down, but it's just crazy. 10 years, same thing. And then what happened to the 2 year? That went up quite a lot. So yields are going back up. That there's some chaos here. Like there's market breaking stuff going on. I think everywhere a little bit. I mean, even though the market rallied a lot, there's some calamity waiting, I still think. So yields, watch out. If they keep going, you know what I saw? Who the hell's talking about this one? British 30 year, right? Last time we were all the way up here, we had what was it, the pension crisis, government collapse. Well, they've only got more debt, more inflation, and yields are there now. New high, crazy, crazy move in British yields. Uh, okay, the Europeans not that much. Yields, something's going on there. The bond market is just absolutely, I don't know. I don't know. It's breaking basically. The stock market was going down and the bond market. Okay, what else? Let's get to gold and silver, right? I mean, commodities did quite well overall. Although at the beginning of the day you had oil down and copper was up, like the metals were up, but oil was down. That was quite interesting. All right, so gold just held its ascending, right, especially on a closed basis, and today just went wild, up almost 4%. I mean, is that even possible? So that was just kind of guaranteeing almost that gold was going to go all the way up. But we've seen gold do okay whilst the market collapses. It does seem to follow sometimes, but it's been standing up for a while. So it still surprised me. 4% is crazy. Silver followed gold. They had the choice between following gold up and following the miners down. And early on, before this craziness happened, it was following the gold up. So that was nice to see. But we're only here, right? We're only at resistance. Like everything is kind of at a resistance point. Silver and the market's at a resistance. It's still got like one, two, three levels to get back to kind of where gold is almost now. So silver's definitely, underperformed gold. Copper, interesting, kind of a bit like silver, still got one, two, three levels. But they're the sort of they're the industry metals, right? They're barometers of the economy. So copper, silver, and oil was going down as everyone was fearing slowdown and inflation and recession. So let's get to the absolute crux of everything. The miners. The miners were pre-market going up with gold and silver to some degree. Like gold was GDX was up, 2-3% or whatever pre-market, more even in some cases. Whilst the market was down, and I thought that was amazing. And again, I think I would have preferred that combination if that was the close. But instead, we just had an acceleration. So me, I had my cells here, right? GDX equivalent on all my miners. just let's say around 43, maybe a little higher than 43, but just below yesterday's high of day, a little bit below to make sure it gets filled. I didn't think starting here that we were going to be able to close above 43.50. Obviously, with what happened, it kept going. And GDX now is like 3% away from reaching its old high. And that's easily doable tomorrow. But let's see, the market has such a crazy day. I can imagine just everything going down 2, 3%, even if it wants to go up later. But that was crazy. That's a huge move. Like GDXJ is up 10%. Look at these. GDXJ you'd think is not going to do as well, but it's basically the same as GDX. I mean, just another 3, 4%, and you're back at your 52-week highs. Now, that kind of should mean your portfolio is also like 3, 4% from 52-week highs. Mine isn't because I own some blue chips. I got a little hit there. And also, I sold into Monday and Tuesday's sort of high of day, let's say, and today, Wednesday. So I nibbled quite a bit out, like, I don't know, 15% in total, max 20. I don't even think it's 20. But so now I need like an extra day. So if it was to go there, I still wouldn't be at portfolio highs. I'd need another like 3, 4% GDX day, which I'm fine with because it's the price I pay for selling, down here. And anyway, if you go back to the general markets, they're far from their all-time highs. So we've done very, very well. We've been safe in the miners, really, probably the best sector, maybe. All right. So miners up huge, basically one good day away from reaching their old highs. Let's go through the portfolio update. It's just crazy, the portfolio. Newmont, I was nibbling that out here. Just again, it applies to all stocks basically. Just below yesterday's high of day, you can see where resistance is. Look at that, 3 days in a row. Nibbled there. And honestly, when we rallied towards the close, I was like, nibble more out. That's why I'm out like 20% of my sort of old max amount that I was the value of my miners holding. So now we're basically at old highs. Newmont looks good. That's one of the best closes ever, probably equal to the last one. So if we have any continuation tomorrow, whether it's gold or the general markets, all like Newmont will definitely start hitting 50, I think. And then see my next sell, now that I've really sold this area, I'm leaving it until this area, 51.69 or something, just before we hit this old level. I think that's a level. So Newmont, amazing. We're basically at the old, and if you look at any of these other stocks like Tesla, Google, which I now own, like Tesla, Google, Amazon, Nvidia, they're nowhere near their old highs. So we've done, especially the senior gold miners. Barrick Gold is just a little behind Newmont there, so looks good. It still needs a little 5% day to get back to the old level. I believe I have a sell around here just in case, like really hit its old high over here, 50, 1969 would probably do it. Little nibble out, and then you'll clear for the big move. I don't even think we'd go here. If we're going to go higher, it's all the way up to 2120. So those are the levels for me. Where it is there, 1979 and the old high. Agnico Eagle sold that one also like at 102.99, I think. God, I regret that. And then I left it. I left it because if we go higher, I think my next sell is probably 109.99 or something, or 100.99. I think 111 is its high. So one more trim at the absolute top because if anything's going to make it, it's this one. And then off it goes for new all-time highs. That's fine. I just nibble a bit out. Right, Pan American Silver. I think that had a good day too. Nice move. Again, I nibbled out just before yesterday's lower day, and then I nibbled again here, 24.49, just the next level. And if it keeps going, then I'll probably nibble some more here, and then I'm good. Like my miners now are going to be worth less than before when they're back at their old highs. I had too much in. I mentioned it a lot. I was a bit, even in my last video, I was annoyed that I didn't sell more. Well, today I had the opportunity and I took it. I'm selling. I still feel like the market will go down, and that should have an effect on the miners, even though gold seems to be loving almost any situation. I just let's not forget what just happened. If we go back down, uh, and the trade war kind of persists with China, and China's the big one. So I don't know if you can just get away with saying you're gonna do a 90-day pause on the countries that didn't react. I mean, that's cool, but I don't know, it's not over. Wheaton, a bit like the other seniors, that's got a little, okay, in this case, 7% move to get the all highs. Nibbled again just before yesterday's high of day. Next sell is all the way up here, 79.99. Just trim that, and then it can go off and make new all-time highs like a Nico Eagle. Franco Nevada, that was also nibbled. That one was not as strong. You can see a bit of resistance there on 152, but also closing just below yesterday's high of day. Still much better than yesterday's close, but kind of close where I nibbled out. Probably 149.99 my nibble. Next one, the standing's gone. Next one's gonna be just here, probably 160.99. The usual stuff. Metalla, Metalla, which I hate. That was a pretty good rally. Even though it was a great day, that was quite good. I sold at 288. Yes. Next sell will be here, 305 or something. I'll adjust during the day. I like zoom in on the 1 minute chart, but I think this descending will do something. Otherwise, up it goes past 310, and I don't know. It depends how crazy everything is. It could maybe go all the way up to 340. So I don't know if this will be a sell once we take this out on a daily close. But pretty good yet, pretty good close today. Definitely took advantage selling because I hate Metalla. But by the time I nibble out, I'll probably start squeezing. Right, let's look at the silver stocks. They were the strongest, makes sense. First Majestic still I mean, look where we are, right? I'm talking about being 1 or 2 decent days away from my all-time high. Well, if the silver stocks really make up ground, then I'll do it quite easily. But that was good. It went basically from one low yesterday, sort of 520. 520 is a great place to buy. All the way up to the old kind of high was 580 before, maybe here, but six is more of a real level. So six was the level. I think I trimmed at 599. Next would be here, 639 because we'll be quite exhausted by then. Otherwise, you've got the descending here. You can see why this level maybe not so much. To be honest, if we start taking out 680 or something, it's probably going to go all the way up to 740-ish. So I'll 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 just clear that up here. But I doubt we get there. That would maybe you really need silver to rally for First Majestic. But today was a good day. It's also the minimum I'd expect. So next level, let's see if we can get to 640 or the old level around 680, just below 680. But pretty good day. Double figure percentage is always good. Fortuna, very, very strong. Old support is resistance. Nibbled that one. 579 probably. Or yesterday's high, I forgot. But anyway, I nibbled some out. Next nibble will be around here. Probably 620. I'll probably do 619. I like that number. And then another smaller one here, 649, 648. And then off we go to new highs. That's definitely doable in 1 or 2 good days. CDE. Still kind of at its lows, but you got to remember it was weak down here, bad news, rallied quite well, but that was with everything. And then, this trade stuff just took it all the way back down to new lows. I nibbled out, well, just below yesterday's high of day. Where else did I nibble? I nibbled again, so maybe it is around 559 or something. I'm not sure. But I remember doing it twice because I just thought it could be exhausted. Next level I got here, so probably 599, little nibble, and then we'll see. Again, if we break out of the descending, they've all kind of got their own descending, then maybe it's gonna be a bigger move up here, 679 by then. Gold and silver are really, gold's definitely a new all-time high, so don't want to sell too much in case it really makes a big move, but I nibbled anyway. I just nibbled out of everything twice. Once below yesterday's high of day, and another time kind of near today's high of day, to be honest. Right, Heckler. There you go. Sold probably at 499. Next one, and I sold again, I believe. Don't know where. Who cares? This is not even a level, actually. Next level is going to be up here, 5.6. So 559 would be your sell if you think it's weak. And then it's probably lots of little machine gun sells because it's not too obvious where it will stop off. But it's a long way up to there. I think 6 will be a somewhat realistic target, but you need silver to rally. EX, I haven't even spoken about support. I'm literally still thinking about resistance only. I mean, support is going to be your old low. Once you get one bad day, another bad day kind of will take you all the way back down to the lows. I think for all markets, pretty much, lots of stocks. EXK, I'm looking at this gap fill at 4. Another push tomorrow should take you to 399 sell. After that, you got a bigger move here. Again, I don't see 2 levels. I don't see that happening, but yeah, could happen. You never know. Mag Silver, that was weak. That made a new low yesterday. So I was selling that again. That was a good sell just below yesterday's high of day. Maybe it was a 13.99. Yeah, I think it was because I thought it'd be a bit weak because of the weakness it showed yesterday. And actually, it was a bit weak. But by the end, look at that 11%. Next level, it's not really too much of a level, this one. But it's so weak, it might end up being the level before here. I don't know. I'll leave that in. I don't expect much from Mag because it's just had bad news. So I was happy to sell that one. Next is Aris Mining. Crazy day for that one. How much is that up? That's like 14%, 15% almost. Yeah, this is a weird one. I sold this one. I think I sold, oh God, that would have been way too early if I sold this one before yesterday's high of day. But anyway, it kept going. It made like an extra 10% after that. And I sold it again 488. Maybe this one was the 488. I sold it twice. Uh, Next stop is the old high of 514. Could definitely do that. And then off it goes to $6. So many of these miners are just one decent day away from making new highs. And like, you take out, let's look at Alibaba. That's gonna take like 5 perfect days. Amazon, I don't know, 4 or 5 immense days. It will never happen. Google. Do you know what I mean? And here we are in our little ARMN unknown stocks. Look at this one, the next one. I am gold, basically at old highs, right? Best close pretty much tomorrow. Where are we going? 669. We close above 670. By the way, this one I sold. Uh, I was saying yesterday that it's quite strong because it was there. I don't think I would have sold it there. I've forgotten. I don't even think 599. Maybe I did. Maybe I did put a sell at 599. But the next one was 649. That got filled very quickly because it stayed there quite a long time today. The next sell is not even 669. It's too close. If there's a breakout, there's a breakout. The next one is basically $7, even though I don't see its level, 699, and then 719, if my memory serves. Yes. 719 and 699. Just boom, boom, little mini sells on the way up, making new 52-week highs. Another miner, B2 Gold, it's done okay, but now resistance is a little trickier to determine. So I sold this one again below yesterday's high of day. I think I sold this one 289 or something, like just towards the end of day. Another nibble. Next move up will take us to, I think, 310. It's hard to call where the level is. It's somewhere here, but around 310-ish. There might be a line there. And it'll be just tiny nibbles. Because, if we keep going, we should be in the 330s quite quickly with for B2 Gold. But I'm in no hurry, don't care. Equinox, that one came down. I've forgotten where I bought. I bought Monday, Tuesday, and maybe even Friday, if I remember. The sale would have been just below, so it would have been either 599 or maybe even 605 or something. And don't know if I sold it again. Actually, don't know. Next resistance I got is over here, 669. Then it's the old high. Great stock, just had a merger. Great pattern. You don't even see really a change in the pattern despite what happened. So 2, 3 good days and it's back to the old highs. Finally, SPSW, really sensitive to commodity breakdown, all the different metals. This one I didn't add to. No, I didn't add to. But I sold it just before yesterday's low of the high of day, which I kind of regret. This one should really fill the gap. Next sell for me is the gap fill. Who cares about this? It's the gap fill, right? So 406 or something. And then after that, I haven't actually looked at anything after that because I doubt this will make it because this one will follow the economy. And I just expect stocks to, I don't know, maybe tomorrow, like it goes up a little bit, but then it sort of closes red and then we sort of retest the lows. It was just too crazy today. The move was crazy. The markets, the dollar is irrelevant. Bonds were crazy. Stocks were absolutely ridiculous. Gold was impressive, up almost 4%. And then up during the day whilst everything was red, leading, like, leading, helping the miners climb really nicely. And I love seeing that, miners up 4, 5%, markets down 2, 3%. It's honestly, it's my favorite combination. But I'll take it. Huge day. Like, you know, I lost 5 figures, which means quite a lot a few days ago. during, was it Friday? It was Friday. Yeah, it was, and then today, basically, I made back the exact amount, and wow, what an emotional roller coaster. Anyway, let's see what happens tomorrow. Let me know what you think, but that was historic. That was amazing.